Good afternoon, welcome to Money Guys. Today we'll discuss current affairs of 18th February. First we'll discuss governance in that is intensified mission Indradhanush 4.0. So what is this mission Indradhanush? It is related to vaccination. It is the scheme of government related to vaccination. Okay. Now we are going through pandemic and vaccination is very much important. So in this scenario, and another thing is that India is suffering from various diseases, various viral diseases. For example, hepatitis, for example, polio, and there are other various diseases. And to to build a society with healthy parameters or to make citizens safe from various diseases, it is important that all the people need to be vaccinated against the acute diseases, right? So, Mission Indradhanush has launched to increase the vaccination coverage of children, women, and vulnerable people. Recently, so what is this Mission Indradhanush? This is recently Ministry of Health virtually launched intensified Mission Indradhanush 4.0. India is implementing largest immunization program globally where it annually covers more than 3 crore pregnant women and 2.6 children through universal immunization program. Right. So it is largest because it covers 3 crore pregnant women and 2.6 children through universal immunization program by Mission Indradhanush. Next, what is this Mission Indradhanush 4.0? It will ensure routine immunization services reach unvaccinated people. Right. Still, even if Mission Indradhanush is launched and already we have seen that already 6 years has completed, but still we see that some people are left out. They are not vaccinated. So then it need to be identified. So it will ensure routine immunization services reach unvaccinated and partially vaccinated children and pregnant women, right? To reach to the last mile, right? Children up to 2 years will be covered in this drive. Children up to 2 years. While pace of routine immunization has slowed down due to COVID-19 pandemic, this mission in the Dhanush 4.0 immensely contribute to filling the gap and make last gains towards the universal immunization. So the target of universal immunization need to be achieved. It aims to achieve the target of universal immunization by routine immunization. But here we learn that because of COVID-19, it has because of various challenges in demand and supply, uh, the target of universal immunization has which slowed down, right? It has reduced. Efficiency has reduced. 3 rounds of IMI 4.0 will be conducted in 416 districts, right? In 416 districts, including 75 districts as for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav across 33 states. These districts have been identified based on vaccination coverage as per the latest National Family Health Survey 5 report. Health Management Information System data burden and data burden vaccine prevented diseases. Right. So, what is this intensified mission in the Indradhanush 4.0? It is basically to reach the women and children, and here you will see that children up to 2 years will be covered in this drive. Another thing is that it aims to have universal immunization, but due to COVID challenges, it has slowed down. Next thing that it will cover around 416 districts, out of which 75 districts identified as Azadika Amrit Mahotsav, right? And that are identified in 33 states and UTs, Union territories. What is the Universal Immunization Program? The immunization program in India was introduced in 1978 as expanded program of immunization by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. In 1985, the program was modified as Universal Immunization Program (UIP) UAP prevents mortality and morbidity in children, right? Especially it aims to reduce the maternal mortality and child mortality, right? In infant mortality. Mm, and pregnant women against 12 vaccine preventable diseases. Right? It is in 1985 when it is launched, it was against 12 vaccine preventable diseases, but in it is seen that increase in immunization coverage had slowed down and increased the rate of 1% per year between 2009 and 2013. To accelerate the coverage, Mission Indradhanush was envisaged and implemented since 2015 to rapidly increase the full immunization coverage to 90% it happened, right? So 90%, so Mission Indradhanush is highly successful because it has rapidly increased the immunization coverage to 90% of the people. And then what is intensified mission Indradhanush? What is IMI? Intensified mission Indradhanush. It was launched in 2017 under IMI. Greater focus was given to urban areas where one of the where which are one of the gaps of mission Indradhanush. Right. It is focused on improved immunization coverage to selected districts and cities to ensure full immunization to more than 90% of the by December 18. That is instead of 2022, 2020. So it was a nationwide immunization drive to mark 25 years of pulse polio program. It has a target of full immunization coverage in 272 districts spread over 27 states. It aimed to achieve at least 90% of pan-India immunization coverage by 2022. So this is all about your IMI. It was launched in 2017. It aimed to coverage 90% of immunization, 90% of immunization by 2022, and it aimed to cover 272 districts of 272 districts, right? Next, what is intensified mission in the Indradhanush? It was launched in 2021. The in focus on IMI 3.0 are children and pregnant women who has missed their vaccine doses during COVID pandemic, right? So especially during COVID pandemic, those who have missed, they will be focused on IMI 3.0. Beneficiaries from migration areas had to reach areas were targeted as might have missed their vaccine doses during the COVID-19 because it is highly essential. So this IMI 3.0 is especially during the COVID-19 period. What are the achievements so far? In April 2021, during various phases of Mission Indradhanush, a total of 3.86 crore children and 96.8 lakh pregnant women have been vaccinated, which is a huge success. The first phase Mission Indradhanush resulted 6.7% increase in full immunization coverage in a year. A survey by IMI CES carried out in 190 districts covered intensified Mission Indradhanush fifth phase of mission, so that 18.5 points increase in full immunization coverage as compared to the NFHS survey 4. So here we show that earlier what was witnessing that every year we are witnessing a growth of 1% of immunization now, but Mission Indradhanush has made it dramatic success. In 2000 in the past two phases Mission Indradhanush we see 6.7% increase in the full immunization, and in the if we see the fifth phase, then it is around 18.5% increase in full immunization coverage as compared to the NHFS 4. The full immunization coverage among children was increased from 62% to 76.4% according to NHFS 5. So here you see that immunization has increased significantly, but still we have to achieve universal vaccination. Okay. India-Australia interim trade agreement. Recently, India and Australia have announced that they are set to conclude an interim trade agreement in March 2022 and a comprehensive economic cooperation CECA in 12 to 18 months thereafter. So, interim trade agreement. India and Australia has announced they are set to conclude interim trade agreement in March 2022. Right. The agreement will cover most areas of interest for both countries, including goods, services, rules of origin, sanitary, phytosanitary measures, and custom procedures. Earlier, India, Japan, and Australia have formally launched Supply Chain Resilience Initiative (SCRI), Supply Chain Resilience Initiative. Remember this organization. By in India, Japan, Australia, they have launched Supply Chain Resilience Initiative (SCRI). But now India is starting interim trade agreement between with Australia. Okay. So what is this interim trade agreement? An interim trade or early harvest trade agreement is used to liberalize tariffs on trade of certain goods between two countries. It is used to liberalize tariffs of trade of certain goods between two countries and trading blocks before a comprehensive FTA free trade agreement is concluded. See, liberalization, we have witnessed that there are two things. One is liberalization, second is protectionism, right? Protectionism means increasing various types, various tariffs and taxes, and liberalization means reducing the rules and reducing the taxes and tariffs, right? These are the two procedures, and we have seen that those who are adopting liberalization are getting more profitable. For example, US and China, they suffered a lot, right? Because of trade war, right? Because of trade war they suffered a lot. So no, it is a liberalization, it is the liberalization that profits the more the two countries rather than the protectionism. So we see that various in various parts. For example, we have SAPTA, we have free trade agreement like ASEAN, we came out of RPC. So there are various trade blocks to reduce the tariffs. But here between India and Australia, here services is included. What is the issue of India was that in most of the trade blocks services were not included. That's why India was suffering, because it lacks in manufacturing goods, in development of manufacturing goods. But it is very strong in so far as services is concerned. So interim trade agreement, it is an agreement to reduce the tariffs. Right? Government emphasize on interim agreements may be tactical, so that a deal may be achieved with minimum commitments and would allow for consensus issues to be resolved later. The problem, though, is that these early harvest scheme potentially target low-hanging fruits, leaving the tougher goods and services for later. This strategy led to significant delay in wrapping of the more broad-based FTAs, which could potentially lead to impediments. Right? Okay. So basically, it says that during the initial days, the EG schemes they are basically implemented, right? Um, and government emphasis on these interim agreements, it is tactical, that can convince with minimum commitment, or in just a trial purpose we can understand like that. Or initially it has reduced in tariffs in certain goods and services, not fully. That is what we can understand by interim trade agreement. India has concluded early harvest agreement with Thailand 2004, but it has not been able to conclude comprehensive FTA with the country. India has also trade agreement with Sri Lanka dealing with goods, but not able to conclude agreement on services, because India is too much, overpowered in services. So many countries oppose in services. Early harvest agreements do not graduate into full-scale FTAs, are exposed to legal challenges from the countries that are members of the World Trade Organization. So there are also legal impediments so far as the trade blocks are concerned. It is often beneficial to negotiate the entire deal together. as an early harvest may reduce the incentive for one side to work to a full FTA. So whether we are discussing that whether this interim trade deal is good or not, right? There are many challenges also. You face the problem in WTO also. Maybe one of the party will not be interested because he or she that country is not getting benefit as it was expecting. In such cases, that lead to closure of the agreement. Then what is free trade agreement? It is a pact between two or more nations to reduce the barrier of imports and exports among them. Reduce the barrier of import exports, right? What will happen by that? This will increase the export and imports. Under free trade policy, goods and services can be brought and sold across international borders with little or no government tariffs. With little or no government tariffs, quotas, subsidies, prohibitions to inhibit their exchange. So this will especially promote the trade between the two countries by reducing the barriers like taxes or any other laws or rules. FTAs can be categorized in preferential trade agreement, right? CECA and comprehensive economic partnership agreement, right? CEPA. These are the types of free trade agreements. You will study in prelim in economics about the various type of free trade agreements that exist. What is India's current trade relations with Austria? Bilateral trade between two countries is 212 billion, which is not too high if you consider between India-Pakistan trade. This is more around 100 billion. In India-US trade is also like that. It has crossed even 115 billion dollar. In comparison to them, this so 12 billion dollar. So there is a huge potential of growth. India has imported mercantile ores about US dollar about $12 billion from Australia in past 10 months of the fiscal and has exported merchandise worth of 5.6 billion in the same period. Key imports from Australia are coal, gold, and liquefied natural gas. So Australia is a very good source of natural resources, that is coal, gold, and liquefied natural gas. Right. While key exports of the country and diesel, petrol, and gems and jewelry. So they are export from India are diesel, petrol, gems, and jewelry, where imports are coal, gold, and liquefied natural gas. And trade is about $12.5 billion. So, what are the opportunity does the agreement brings? The agreement on the Australia is set to bring opportunity across the sectors like mining, pharmaceuticals, health, education, renewables, railways, gems, jewelry, tourism, defense, textiles. India is there also likely to easier visa access from both sides and professional visiting both students and professionals visiting Australia. Australia is likely to seek market access for wines and agricultural products which are not produced on a large scale in India. Wines and agricultural products Australia want to supply. Right. Both countries are also looking at mutual recognition of educational qualifications. Mutual recognition of educational qualification, right? So that what happened, India students seeking education in Australia and vice versa, that will promote the both. India and Australia have also signed MOU to boost tourism between the both countries. The agreement will lead to deeper cooperation between the two countries in critical minerals and rare earth materials. Right? Both countries will cooperate so far as critical minerals and rare earth materials, which are critical in future industries and including renewable industries and electric vehicles. As Australia has plenty full of supplies of rare earths, critical minerals, but it need places for them to be processed. So both countries will leverage each other's capacities, each other resources. And both countries have different natural resources and different potential in their local localities. India can import various things. India can get very agricultural products and wine at cheaper cost, and also they will also get various services facilities at cheap cost, right? So this will be beneficial for the people of both country. Okay. So, what will Quad's impact on trade relation between India and Australia? India and Australia are both members of the Quad Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, along with US and Japan. Right. Recently, fourth meeting between the Quad grouping happened in Melbourne, Australia, and both countries have noted that the coalition has given impetus to increase trade relations between all members of the Quad. So we can say that Quad's relationship will be stronger. Quad is the grouping between India, US, Australia, and Japan, especially to ensure maritime security and to counter the aggressiveness China in Indo-Pacific. Right. In that concept, Quad is the one of the most important geostrategic or geopolitical organization. This will boost the relationship in Squad as the trade relationship in both with Australia increasing. Right. What are the other free trade agreements that India is currently negotiating? India is currently in the process of negotiating FTAs with the UAE and US, Canada, and European Union and Israel beside Australia. India is also looking to complete an early harvest agreement with the UAE and the UK in the first half of 2022. So these are the other free trade agreement that is in the process that is India negotiating, right? For example, that is with UAE, UK, Canada, and various European Union. And what are the issue, especially they are not allowing major issue in these free trade agreements is that India do not want to liberalize all its manufacturing sector and all its dairy sector. And those countries they do not want to liberalize their service sector, right? Because India has a brand in service sector. Earth observation satellites. Recently, Indian Space Research Organization Earth observation satellites EOS 4 and 2 small satellites Inspire 1 and INS 2 TD were successfully placed into the intended orbit by PSLV 652 rocket. The launch was the 54th flight of the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle rocket and 23rd of its most powerful XL version that has 6 strap-on boosters. So these are Earth observation satellites. So EOS and 042 small satellites they are launched by PSLV, right? Polar Satellite Launch can it is one of the India's traditional launch vehicle and very successful launch vehicle. It can take around 1750 kg of payload to the low Earth orbit, right? In that context, it is very developed, right? Earth, what are the responsibility of Earth observation satellites? It will observe the various resources that present, various natural resources. It will also give information regarding weather, right? So this will observe the Earth at various instances of time, and this will supply the important information so far as the Earth crust or climate is concerned, right? So US 4 it is a 1710 kg. I have already said that the limit is 1725 kg for low Earth orbit, uh, with a mission of 10 years designed to provide high quality images of all weather condition applications for agriculture, forestry, and plantation, soil moisture, and hydrology. Right? It will complement the data from ResourceSat, Cartosat, and Resat 2-bit series of satellites that are already in orbit. The first of these two named satellites are EOS 1, launched in 2020, and now EOS 2, a microsatellite to be flown in the new launch called as SSLV, that is Small Satellite Launch Vehicle, is yet to be launched. While the EOS 3 had ended a failure in 2021, it will be placed in Sun synchronous polar orbit. Right, Sun synchronous polar orbit means it will cover at a particular time in a day. It will cover a particular place, right? So that what will happen, why it is sun synchronous, when a vehicle becomes sun synchronous, it will especially it takes the pics or it takes the photo of that area more clearly, because at a particular time in a particular area the sun is at top position, right? So so for today, this much. And like this video, share this video, and encourage us to continue this program. Thank you. Good afternoon.